It's a good discussion. I'm glad we're having it. Just a few remarks. The practical political implications that Senator Kaine raised. Look, this is what I think. This is a real debate. There are differences of opinion. It's called democracy. I would urge those who support what Senator Paul and I are trying to do here to vote for it. And then Senator Burr or anybody else can, on the floor of the Senate, bring forth an amendment trying to take it out. We can have that debate on the floor. What's wrong with that? Vote your conscience. Senator Burr wins on the floor and gets it out. He wins. I win. We win. That's called democracy. I think that's how we should proceed. In terms of what Senator Romney, the point that he made about importing price controls, I would look at it a little bit differently. Senator Romney, we are the odd guy out in terms of health care around the world. Every other major country on earth, as you know, has in one form or another a national health care system, which has to purchase a whole lot of prescription drugs. And what they do in Canada and UK and elsewhere, different ways, is they sit down with the drug companies and they negotiate prices. You may call that price controls, but I think if you're purchasing, you're a business guy, if you're purchasing a lot of product, you sit down and you could negotiate. And that's what these countries do. We don't do it. And I think that's a serious problem. So you may consider it hitching a ride in a sense. I see it as allowing countries to do what they consider to be best for their people, and we do what's best for our people, taking advantage of what they have done. The third point that I want to make is what Senator Burr raised. I've been hearing this scare tactics, we've got over and over again. The idea that countries like Canada or the UK or France, allow for the development and distribution of drugs that will hurt their own people is just not true. It really is not true, and it's insulting to our neighbors. We're not the only country on earth that worries about the safety of our people. And what I would argue, and this is an important point to make, 1 out of 4 people who get a prescription from their doctor, Senator Burr, cannot afford to fill those prescriptions. How many of those people die? So you can have all the great drugs in the world, but if you can't afford to buy them, they're useless to you. So I don't accept the idea. We have very strong language in this bill to make sure that the products coming into this country are safe and consistent with what the FDA has done for years.
Senator Paul.
I'd also like to address the safety issue. I think there probably are well-meaning people who bring this up who may believe this, but there are also people who are bringing this up for protectionism reasons. They want to protect their turf. So, for example, with baby formula, in a heartbeat, I would let my child have European baby formula. I would have no reticence at all to give baby formula from Europe to my child, particularly if there's no baby formula at all. And that's just not true. I mean, we have some differences on how much iron we put in there. Most of the labeling requirements between the formula in Europe and here are done for protectionist reasons. There's an enormous lobby. Our dairy lobby is very, very powerful, and they have lobbied to put restrictions on baby formula, so it's done domestically. That is protectionism. It has nothing to do with safety, but safety arguments are used for protectionism, and they are also done by the pharmaceutical industry as well. The implication that we're not smart enough is sort of an elitist argument that your parents, Senator Kaine's parents, aren't smart enough to decide whether he can buy glaucoma drugs in Canada. I refuse that and believe that we are smart enough to make a difference. I've had about a dozen epidural injections into my neck with steroids. I got them from one of the same clinics where someone died. They had a contaminated batch. Fortunately, it wasn't mine. And we have lots of controls. And I actually don't fault the controls. Actually, in this case, I think the lab that was doing it was breaking the law, and they should have gone to jail, and maybe they did eventually go to jail. But the thing is that there are dangers, and I read about the dangers and actually waited a little while before I got another injection to make sure that lab wasn't selling anything anymore. And that's what we do. And I think people and patients are smart enough to make decisions. Would I vote for this to be with China? No, I don't think China is an open or transparent society, and I wouldn't have them on any list. But Canada and the UK, I think, is a great way to start, and then we go from there. But I would have no trouble at all buying a hypertensive drug from any major country in Europe that sells a hypertensive drug. And it will create a worldwide market. And I think Senator Sanders makes a point that some of these price controls in other countries are negotiated prices between the government and the drug company because you get the exclusive contract. We're doing the same with baby formula. There might be a problem with always having one exclusive. You should probably negotiate with more than one, so we have a variety of different companies we're negotiating with. But this will be a disruptor. The market needs some disruption. The market, I think, has tended towards monopolization. I don't think it's a monopoly, and I don't want to break up the drug companies either. I also don't want price controls on them. But I think we've waited long enough to try to have more of a marketplace, and we should do this. And this is sort of a 2-year trial, I think, and it would be, I think, something that would be worthwhile doing. But I don't see any issue of safety.
Madam Chairman, could I, before
Senator
you
Burke.
wrap up? You know, sometimes institutional knowledge is important because it sorts out what we've done in the past.